Hey everybody, welcome back to Couture Montenegro, and we're doing another residency video with our Montenegro residency expert, and this is Yulia. So we're going to be right back, and we're going to get into how you can come to Montenegro and potentially live here if that's something you're desiring to do. Okay, so Julia, thank you for having this time with us today. So fill us in, what is the current process for residency for people that would like to live here in Montenegro?
Hi Ryan, hi Julie. Thank you for inviting me for the next time for this interview. Since the met last time, year and a half I suppose before, a lot of things changed, but not dramatically changed. But there are some very important things I need to explain, I need to mention. Well, first, we just need to clear up a very important question regarding the residency here in Montenegro for every people around the world. It doesn't matter what kind of citizens do you have. The idea is when you are going to relocate, to move to Montenegro, you need to understand very clear. If you want to live here, if you want to have a permanent residency in future or not. This is the very first question you need to ask yourself. Because when you will when you answer this question to me, I will give you some options and solutions how you can reside here in Monte. So the idea is that if you do not have any plans to live in Montenegro, you just, for instance, want to buy property or to be travelers like Warren and Julie. In that case, you need to understand that the permanent residency is not for you. Because if you want to have permanent residency, you need to live in Montenegro, and you are allowed to be out from the country within 5 years, only 10 months. 10 months, like in parts, partially, or 6 months only, but at once. Like, for instance, you will be out for half a year, and that's it. If you don't have such an intention to have permanent residency in future, you have only usual residence, like for 1 year, and the idea is, in case if you are a property owner, or if you are for instance, family member, you cannot renew this residency the next year. What it means? It means you cannot prolongate it, not to have break. But it's not something crucial. It's okay because you can have a new one. You can apply for a new one residency for 1 more year, like you did it at the first time. So that's okay if you want to have it like this. In case if you set a company, if you will be the owner of this company with minimum 51%, and if you will be at the same time the executive director of this company, in this case you can renew this residency the second year. It's okay for renewing, but again you don't have any chance for permanent permits. So you need to choose what option is important for you. That's the idea. That's the main questions I'm really asking I'm really been asking all the time from the side of clients, different people. That's it.
So if you own a home and you own a property, you can have your residency, but you still would have to reapply every year if you're gone for more than 2 months out of the year, basically. And so the next year you would reapply. How long is that process for the approval? So if somebody were to have residency for their 1 year, they're going to be gone for 2 months out of the year, 3 months out of the year, and then they'll have to reapply for the following year. What will that mean? Do they need to go and get a visa D again, or do they have to do anything special, or they just walk in and say, okay, I had my residency already and I'm living here, can I get it approved again? What do they need to show?
Background documents again?
Yes, you're absolutely correct asking me these particular things, because the renewal of permit means that you apply before your permit is over. It means renewing. But if you cannot renew up to the law, that means that you need to reapply like it was for the first time. What it means that whole package of documents to be done from the beginning again. In other words, if, for instance, if you are from the country which has visa regime with Montenegro, you need to apply for a new visa. Then you need to get a new criminal certificate background. Those are the main things that you need to have, and it will be like the new. It can be use the documents from the last year. Impossible. So you need to do all the package from the beginning, from the start. That's the idea.
If you don't let it lapse and you just renew it before it expires, even though you were out of the country for 4 months, do you have to start all over again?
If you want to try to to apply for the new residence permit, like for renewing, and you know that you're breaking the law, so you should be, you should understand that you will be rejected by the government. It's a normal thing. So because you broke the law, it's okay. So in this case, no sense to try to renew it when you know that you were really out for more, months, for more period of time that it is allowed by the law.
So in other words, if we, for example, went and did our residency with our house,
yes,
and we were gone for say 4 to 5 months out of that entire 12, if we go to renew it before it's expired, we know, or we have broken the law, and there is really no renewal at that point. We have to start from square one.
Yes, so no sense, because when you try to renew it before your residence permit is over, and you know that you've broken the law, you should understand that you will just only lose your money, because any tax will be refunded. So you just apply, wait, but you will be rejected. No sense absolutely. So in this case, when you are really understand that you're out of the country more than this allowed period, you need to wait until your permit is over. If you are in the country in this moment, if you're in Montenegro this moment, you need to leave the country on the date of the expiring of your permit. For instance, if your permit is, for instance, until 5th of September, you need to leave the country on the 5th of September, and to go to Croatia, to go to Bosnia, to any other country here, and then to be back the next day, not the same day, but to the next day. It's like, usual visa for every country, I know. So the last day you can be here, you should leave, and only the next day you can be coming back. And to start all procedures from the beginning like a tourist.
With
everything.
Documents.
Absolutely.
That's a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Wow. So I will go out on a limb, and I will tell you that if you're looking at getting residency by property because of your homeowner and you don't want to stay here for 10 months out of the year, it's probably not the route to go.
No.
So the corporation is going to be the better route. So let's talk about the corporation residency. If somebody had a corporation here, and that allows them to come and go a bit more, and what are the monetary requirements for that corporation to stay a valid corporation, or what kind of work has to happen for that corporation to be a legal entity in Montenegro?
For the legal entity, it's just quite simple. You need to have only passport. But again, it's very important thing to understand that your passport for any residence permits should be minimum 1.5 years valid. It is very important, because I have a lot of cases and people just don't think about this, and they cannot apply normally, or will have very short time residence permits because of the short time of expiring of the passport. So it's important to know, not to forget for any kind of residence permit. So to set up company, a legal entity, doesn't mean it should be a company, maybe entrepreneur, no, doesn't matter. You have to have passport valid. And the process is like this. You set up company. After you set company, you apply for residency, waiting for residency. Then another part is employment. Another part is getting state medical insurance. What is here usually controversial and something that people do not understand. Montenegro, not only Montenegro, but ex-Yugoslavia countries, they have such kind of legislation that the executive director it should be employed. It's not like, for instance, in Cyprus or in the UK or some other countries. It's not function. Executive director. It's like employment position. What it means? That means you need to have salary. I mean, you pay salary to director, to yourself. It means to yourself, and you pay taxes on that salary. That's the idea. Because people very usually ask me, I don't want to have to apply for residence permit. I just want to open the company and to be a director. If you are a foreigner, it's impossible to be just a director. You need to apply for residency. Why? Because you should be employed. That's the idea. People doesn't understand this, unfortunately. So I just explain you. And in this case, again, we have 4 steps. First, set up company, then apply for residence permit, then employment procedures, and finally we make state medical insurance. That's the whole process. In case if you are from the country for which the visa is needed to come to Monte, before all these procedures, first need to apply for visa D, for national visa D. And very, very often questions, I have, for instance, visa of UK, I have visa of USA or Schengen, or for instance, I have permit in Emirates. Can I come in Monte to set up company and apply? No, you cannot, because these type of visas allows you only to come to Monte as a tourist. You cannot change your status from tourist into director of the company into immigration status here in Monte. Impossible. So you need to apply for national Montenegro visa D first, visa D for employment. Only after that you can do all other procedures. So the mechanism is not such simple, but the idea is that first visa D, if you will be approved, after that it makes sense to make all the steps. That's a little bit difficult. I mean, for these people from other countries, because from time to time they are not living in their countries. They don't know how to find the consulate of Montenegro, because there are few consulate of embassies in Montenegro around the world. So, for instance, you need to check. Maybe it can be the embassy of Serbia, where you can or should apply for Montenegro visa, etc. If you want to apply for visa, Montenegro visa, due to the fact that Montenegro has very few embassies and consulate around the world, because there are few, just normal things. In these cases, it's very, very often the embassy of Serbia or consulate of Serbia represents Montenegro.
And how would you know if you're in a country where you have to go to the Serbian embassy for Montenegro paperwork?
It's very easy to find out. You just need to find in internet and Google, MFA of Montenegro. Just Google Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Montenegro. You will have website. You will see website, and then you will see the one of part is like visa regimes or something like that. So in these visa regimes, you will find your country. Just choose your country, and you will see the visa regime for your country. In the embassy, you can apply.
If you are already in the country of Montenegro, and you have decided, okay, I am going to stay. I want to do this. Are you able to start that process here?
Again, you if you are in country, you can stay. You can start all the process and to finalize all the process only in case if you're from the country for which visa for Montenegro doesn't need it. It's like all the countries from European Union. It is UK, it is Canada, it is USA, it is Australia, New Zealand, something like that. For instance, if you're from the South Africa, you have this very big and long process with visa D. But anyway, it goes like that. So only in this case, if you are from these non-visa countries, you can start all things here. But please remember, again, very important thing, when you decided to start the procedures, that you have only in a whole 3 months within a half a year to stay in Monte. So very often there is a situation that the person just came to Monte, look around, maybe even find something to buy or something like that, and the time just pass through, and someone asked me, "Oh, can I have the possibility to apply for residence permit? For instance, on the base of real estate." I'm asking, "Okay, have you already got your owner certificate?" "Oh no, we have like agreement. We are paying within a year." So impossible to apply for residency if you do not have owner certificate on your name. What it means that you cannot stay in Monte until that. So you first need to pay all money to have owner certificate on your name, and then only just apply. You cannot apply having only the buying contract, impossible. It's very often situation, and usually people who are asking for help, usually like in the end of their staying here, like I'm here for 2 months and a half. Sorry, you have only 2 weeks more to stay here and you need to go out. That's the idea. The same with companies. Now the all procedures of bureaucracy procedures are very long because of this conflict between Russia, Ukraine, in Europe.
So let's go ahead and talk about the corporation residency program.
Yes, okay.
So if somebody wanted to come to Montenegro and wanted the ability and the freedom to come and go more than 2 months out of the year and didn't have to be here 10 months a year, if they own a corporation or open a corporation here as officers of the company, they can leave more frequently. And how does that work? And the second part, if somebody is married, can they both be officers of the same corporation and company? So give us the lowdown on the corporation program here in Montenegro.
Okay, as for the company, legal entity, the idea is that, as I already mentioned, you can have possibility to renew your residency every year without any break, only in case if you're an owner of the company and own a minimum of 51%, and at the same time you are an executive director. If you're speaking about company, in case if you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. It's the same. In case if you're executive director and an owner of the company, again, the idea of leaving country or being out, again, is connected to the permanent residency. If you don't want to have permanent residency, just don't care. You don't care. You can be out whatever at any time you want to be out. But there is now a kind of type of limitations which are strictly connected to the 1 year residency. So in this case, if you are executive director of your company, you can renew permit. You can renew it every year without any break. If you are the executive director in your company and owner, you can renew this permit every year without any limitations, but you cannot apply for permanent residency. That's the idea. So in case if you just want to have residency in Monte, but you do not have to apply for permanent residency in future, you can use this way of residency through setup company or entrepreneur. If again, if you are a family member or if you are a property owner, it doesn't work like that. As I told before, there is the limitations of staying in Monte within 1 year. So in these limitations, if you broke these limitations like you do, you cannot renew. You can reapply, but you cannot renew residency next year. Is it clear? Yeah?
Okay, so
Or
then
maybe it's difficult to
if you have
understand.
a husband and a wife and they want to travel 4 to 5 months a year, they want to stay here for a full 7, but they want to be gone 5.
Yes.
Then you're going to need to open up 2 corporations because that person has to have 51% ownership. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. You understand absolutely correctly, because in case if you both want to be out, if you both want to have possibility to keep your residency and renew every year, unfortunately you have only variant, only option to have 2 separate legal entities.
So
That's
then
the
you
idea.
must pay taxes
Yes.
and income
Yes.
to
Yes.
each individual.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you if this is a legal workaround. So if you have your 2 corporations and you have to have a certain minimum amount of income being produced, and basically it really comes down to you have to pay tax on that income. So if you knew what the minimum tax is or the tax that's required by law for your corporation to be legal, and if you opened up a consulting business and you were consulting your child back at home about their financial stuff back in, say, the UK or the States, and then you just say, hey, they pay us 1,000 euros a month in business, so we're going to pay our tax. So basically you just pay the tax on that 1,000 euro that maybe your child never ever paid, but you just need to pay that minimum tax. You're doing a consulting business and you have the one client. Does that qualify for a workaround within the country of Montenegro?
Can you please explain once again, because I'm not maybe I didn't catch very clear. You are speaking now about the consultant business, like you're speaking from the point of view of taxes,
Yes.
or
It's just a
what?
scenario.
Yes,
it's
it's
an
a
idea.
scenario. If there's a requirement for your corporation to make a certain amount of money.
No.
Okay, so because you have to be able to pay the director and you have to have the taxes.
Okay. That's the idea. Oh, okay. For now, Montenegro still do not require to have any working company. It can be like sleeping company. So how you can put money on your account, on your company account? You give yourself You give yourself a loan. That's the idea. So it means that if maybe in a couple of years you'll decide to make your company active, it's also good, because the moment your company will start to work, you can have this loan back. That's also good.
Okay.
But that's the idea. Until now, Montenegro allows you to do like that. But again, you need to understand, you need to keep in mind, it's not allowed in European Union countries. It's not allowed in a lot of countries. So it's just like, period of time.
So opening a nil corporation here with you, what's the minimum tax that each of the officers would have to pay if you were single and you had your own corporation, or you and your spouse had to open up 2 different corporations? How much is the minimum tax that needs to be paid? And also for the viewers to understand, that includes the Montenegrin health coverage when they're paying for that.
First, I need to mention that we had a tax reform in the end of last year. So everything changed. And now we have progressive taxes, progressive income taxes, progressive corporate taxes, that's it. In the salary, now it's higher twice than it was year before. The last salary was 200 and a half. Now it's 400 and a half. But the taxes decreased. Taxes on salaries decreased.
Okay.
And now, if you have this full salary, just minimum salary for everyone,
That's
for
450 euro a month.
450 euros a month. For Montenegrins, for foreigners, the same. The taxation for the salary monthly is 117 up to 120. That's it.
So about 117, 120 euro minimum for the tax for the officer of the corporation. So if you and your spouse had a corporation, you'd be looking at 240 euro approximately a month for two different corporations. But that also includes your Montenegro health insurance while you're there. And so as far as any type of activity, business activity, it doesn't necessarily have to have a business activity going on?
The idea is that business activity is not necessary for now. It's not required for now. And you can pay this kind of taxes. It can be a little bit reduced. I don't want to explain now how. But anyway, this idea, and for these taxes, for this taxation, only in case if you work, you have right for the state medical insurance. You both. In case if you have company and you have dependents, for instance, you don't want to have two different companies, you want to have only one, and then to apply for residency for your children, for your family members. For that situation, again, you yourself as a main applicant, hired applicant, and your dependents have a right for state medical insurance.
Ah, super.
Only for this sum. Monthly.
That's still a pretty good deal. I mean, Julie and I, we have private health insurance that we travel the world with, and we do have a link down in the video description for this if you're interested in the private health insurance. But we're spending $204 a month. We have a $2,500 deductible, $1 million cap on us as we travel from country to country, and so coming here, you're paying a little bit more than that, and you get the Montenegrin health insurance, which does not have that deductible, right? Where you more or less can go get your services taken care of at a very minimal cost.
Yes, but anyway, of course, you understand that the medical system in Montenegro is not so brilliant as in other countries, like even in Croatia, in Serbia, and in other countries. So, of course, in a lot of cases, you need to use the private insurance, private doctors and so healthcare. In that case, again, you need to understand what is better for you. If it's possible to have some kind of insurance, I mean international, which will cover Montenegro as well, please do that. I'm not specialist in this, so if you know, if you can advise, please advise, because I don't know.
Well, of course, we can help you with the private insurance, but it's good to know that you've got that upfront stuff taken care of. But if you wanted to go to the private system, then you've got that ability.
To summarize, then, you have two corporations for a husband, a wife. She has one, he has one, or domestic partners, etc. Mm-hmm. If you, at that point in time, it's 120 euro each on paying taxes minimally.
Yes.
Then what about accounting? Because you probably have to show some accounting for these corporations, correct?
Of course. Every legal entity should have accounting. For that, we use our source of accounting, so we have it. So we have very big department for accounting. It's not so easy to do it by yourself, so usually we use it for our clients. Accounting usually goes somewhere from 60 euros per month, depends what you want to. And it's like usual statements for monthly statements for tax inspections and financial reports at the end of the year. But anyway, a company will have like zero any profits.
So I'm calculating €360 minimally for 2 corporations with accounting, paying their taxes.
You can have it a little bit less.
A little less.
It can be a little less, but again, I told you I don't want to now explain it. I'll explain to our client.
Anything additional that needed to be said?
I will try to say once again, just to repeat, that from the last year we have new requirements for documents. We need documents to be apostilled or legalized. It's very often question. Why should I do this? And should I do this or not? In case if you want to apply for residency, please, you always need to contact, for instance, us or anyone else you are working with, and to ask if you need to have your document apostilled or legalized. Because, for instance, for Canada documents here, all the documents should be legalized. It's called full legalization or consulate legalization. It is very, very long procedure as far as I know in Canada. Please be sure that you know how to do this, and please contact your legal advisors in your country to understand how you should do this. Another interesting thing that it's all the time on top of the question, is that Montenegro do not ask you for your criminal record from the country you're living in now, only from the country of your citizenship. So, in case if you have been living in another country for 10 years, for 15 years, doesn't matter. You need to have this criminal record from your own country. And please, again, check with your authorities of your country of citizenship and your legal advisors how you can take these documents, what are procedures, how you should legalize or apostille, and etc. Because very often people ask me, I don't know, because I'm a specialist on Montenegro, not on other countries. It's just I want to ask all the people to check all these things in their countries.
So as a reminder, Julie and I, we are traveling the world with our 2 dogs. Montenegro is our home base that we come and go. We can stay here for 90 days at a shot without residency as American citizens, and it's a great home base outside of Schengen if you wanted to travel to Schengen's 26 countries where you can only be for 90 days and then you have to leave for 90. This is a great place to call home. So with that being said, if you need help with residency, Julia's information will be down into the video description, and you can email her here. And so we are hoping that you're going to give this video a like, that you're going to subscribe, and from Julie and I, thank you for your time, and until next time, have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.